Out in front of the building that used to serve as my boutique before it was set aflame late last night, a crowd gathers. As it turns out, Sarah texted Nikki what happened, who texted some others of our old gang, who texted more members, and so forth. Not to be outdone, many members of the couple have also come by after Jed and Gray spread the message about Evan's attack. And within a few hours of the sun rising, dozens of people have arrived to show their support and share their condolences. I can't help but feel a little overwhelmed by all of the attention, especially before I've even had time to process everything. "This is crazy," I whispered to Gray. "The building is practically still smoking, for Pete's sake." "What can I say? The people love you," Gray winks. "More like people have a morbid curiosity about what a burned down building looks like," I shoot back. "Nah, it's mostly the love thing. Evan's aggressive territory takeover has hurt us all in some way or another. We like to be there for each other when we can." "Speaking of which," he says, trailing off. Gray clears his throat loudly until he's drawn the attention of the crowd. Once everyone has quieted down, he begins speaking in a loud, clear voice. "Thanks for coming, everyone, Academy and the couple alike. As we all know by now, Even launched a brutal attack on the business owned by Angel last night." Gray gestures to what remains of the raindrop behind us. "This wasn't the first place Evans targeted. I'm sure most of us recall the recent attack on a bar called Wasted, which used to be Academy territory." Many Academy gang members in the crowd nod their heads, along with a few the couples. "The Riversiders' territory expansion has been brutal on both of our gangs, but for so long, we never thought to work together to fight against them." Gray now looks over at me, a proud smile on his face. "Angel changed that when she asked for us all to band together and help her and her business when Even put the shop at risk a few weeks ago. And it was an amazing success. I'm sure many of us have fond memories of Raindrop," Gray continues. A few more nods and smiles from the crowd, from members of both gangs. "Which is why what happened here last night is such a tragedy. It was the first time we came together, and now it'll have to be the second." Gray speaks more passionately now, seeking to psych up his audience. "Let's help Angel here today, and then tonight, let's all go after the Riversiders and end this once and for all. No more attacks, no more victims." The couples readily begin to cheer and pump their fists in the air. Also moved by Gray's speech, the Academy members soon follow suit. I beam at Gray, proud to be with such a kind-hearted and charismatic individual. I move to stand close to him, placing my hand on his shoulder. "Thank you, Gray," I whisper. "That sure was something." "Glad you enjoyed the show," he winks. "Now, let's see if it's safe to go inside and start cleaning up." By now, the building has cooled enough to enter. Before they left, the fire department did inform us that the damage to the structure of the building wasn't too severe. We should be able to enter and move about freely, though we'll have to proceed with caution. Seeing the smoldering remains of my store makes my breath catch in my throat. Piles of ashes where clothes used to be are scattered throughout the blackened floor. Tears pull in my eyes as I recall the hours spent designing and sewing all the garments within my boutique. It's just time. I can rebuild. I tried to take deep breaths to steady myself, trying to focus on the fact that my insurance payment will allow me to find a new location for Raindrop. It'll all be okay. I'll have a new I'll have a shop again soon. My dream hasn't been taken from me just yet. As the others enter the building and take in the depressed, destroyed state of my boutique, they glance over at me with pity in their eyes. Sarah and Jet take control of the group, giving out orders on how to clean things up as well as take stock of what's been lost and what can be salvaged. Personally, I don't do much besides pace across the floor space, grieving what I've lost. Are you alright? Gray asks. My mouth twists into a grimace. Not really. If I'm being honest, seeing the effects of the fire so close up is a lot to take in. He comes to stand beside me by where the cash register used to be. It's now just a lump of metal resting on the ground. Tell me what's on your mind, Gray says gently. I don't want even to get away with this, I say through gritted teeth. My fists clench as I continue to survey the damage of the place I had loved the most. He hurt something so incredibly precious to me. I don't want him to walk away unscathed. I insist. He won't, Gray says firmly. Taken aback by the strength and readiness of his answer, I turn to Gray in surprise. What makes you so sure? Are you planning to do something to even? Gray shakes his head back and forth, a solemn look settling across his face. I wouldn't say I have a plan just yet, just an idea for something that might work. I still need the opportunity to put it into action. Before our conversation can continue, someone else approaches us. Hazel? Sarah interrupts. A few of us were talking and we want to put a fundraiser together to help you rebuild. That's really sweet of you guys, but it's totally not necessary. I say, my insurance should cover at least the majority of what I need. I just called them recently to make sure. At least let us put up a post on the internet about it. Sarah pouts. If people really want to help, I think they should be able to. After some more arguing back and forth, I eventually throw my hands up in surrender. Oh, alright. I sigh, you win. I guess I shouldn't fight you so hard when you're trying to do something for my benefit. I just don't want people to spend their money on me when I'm sure to be alright. Yay! I promise I'll make the insurance coverage thing super clear. Sarah smiles. This'll just be for those who want to show you a little extra support. As Sarah walks away, triumphantly, after receiving my blessing, Gray can't help but look a little impressed by her. Taking notes on how to argue with me, I joke. Oh, definitely, Gray agrees. As much as I love how willful you are, I love taming that into submission even more. I playfully smack him on his bishop, making him laugh. Don't make me sound like some kind of animal, I say lightly. Gray waggles his eyebrows at me suggestively, but we both know that's exactly what you are when you're alone with me. Keep this up and I'll smack you again. As much as I try to pretend this is some kind of serious warning, a smile fights its way into my face anyway. Go ahead, give in to your urges. You'll only be proving my point. Gray teases. I throw my hands up into the air in surrender, laughing. You are way too much for me to handle sometimes, you know that? Gray shoots me a downright devilish smile. Oh, believe me, I know it, and I'll keep reminding you of that fact over and over and over. Unable to take any more of his teasing, I wrap my arms around his neck and stretch up on my toes until I can press my lips against his. As we kiss, some of the others in the room start to notice and begin to whoop and holler at us. Gray ignores them, encasing me in his arms. He happily returns my affection. When our lips apart, I settle back down on my feet with a knowing smile on my face. It's certainly an effective way to halt Gray's unceasing teasing. Well played, he says, grinning. You as well, I reply honestly. I know you were trying to brighten my mood. It's sweet that you sought to distract me from, well, my arm gestures to my ruined boutique in a grand sweeping motion. From how crappy my life is right now, or the raindrop part of it. Anyway, thanks for helping me remember there's still good things in it too. Anytime, Hazel. I love putting a smile on your face. Gray beams at me with a warm smile on his own before nodding his head over in the direction of the main area of the store. Ready to start cleaning this place up? Gray asked me. Of course, it wouldn't be right to expect everyone else to do everything for me. I want to pull my own weight, I answer. All right then, Hazel, let's get to work. The two of us approached Sarah and Jet for a breakdown of the groups and tasks assigned to them. Sarah and I soon led the charge on sorting out the salvageable items, while Gray and Jet handled a lot of heavy lifting. When lunchtime comes, we all chip in some money to have pizza delivered. When the food arrives, we all find spots to sit on the newly swept floor. There's no escaping the fact that it would be much more comfortable if we all went to a restaurant together, seeing as I no longer have furniture for people to sit on. Even so, we don't want to take the chance that anyone will overhear our conversation. So, earlier today, I mentioned putting an end to our feud with Riverside. Gray says in a loud, clear voice. Here's how we're going to do it. He stands in front of the two gangs. Almost immediately, everyone's attention is fixated on him. We all want to know how to take Riverside down. This is the first time so many of us have been on the same page, even when even when both gangs were helping me sew the large amount of garments needed to participate in the charity showcase, a limited number of people showed up. Fighting the Riversiders is something clearly all of us are onboarded with. Too many of us have seen the places and people we love get hurt. Even even Novak or the Hammer is motivated by money most of all. Gray continues. He takes over territories to expand his businesses and look for ways to launder. So the solution is simple. If we take away his money and threaten his livelihood, we take away his power. We can't keep relying on fistfights to solve our problems. We need to hit him where it actually hurts. The problem is, Gray pauses. I know Even uses a warehouse he owns as his main place of operation, but I don't actually know where that is. Wait, seriously? I thought you and Jed were in business with him. Nikki interjects. It's true that Gray and I sometimes play poker with Even, but we don't socialize much outside of that. Jed answers. Couldn't you host the poker game at the warehouse? Nikki asks. Gray shakes his head in dissent. Even is incredibly secretive about this sort of thing, he replies. He has hardly ever invited me to his apartment, let alone showed me his secret operation center. Maybe we should stick to fighting. We could just straight up challenge Riverside to a fight. Sarah suggests boldly. Now it's Nikki who's shaking his head no. Part of the reason the Riversiders have been so successful through Evan's leadership is because he never leads them into a fight unless he knows he can win. Novak rarely fights head on unless he can guarantee some sort of advantage, Nikki continues. When scoping out new territory locations, he waits to attack until he's confident in his numbers, how many people he has, how many people are inside, and how long it'll take for backup to arrive. So it's hopeless then? One gang member asks. I guess we shouldn't have expected much. Riverside has been beating both of us for a decade now, another says dejectedly. That's not what Nikki's saying. We just need to find where Evan's warehouse is and take them by surprise, Gray asserts. When they lay the problem out so clearly, the answer seems clear to me. So let's scout it out. We'll have a bunch of us go out and follow however many Riversiders we can find. One of them is bound to lead us back to the warehouse, and then whoever finds it will text the rest of us, I suggest. That should work. We'll take volunteers for scouts and decide on a central location for the rest of us to stand by, Gray says. There's a noticeable shift in the air as our two gangs join together to forge together a plan, an electric energy that's boosting our collective mood. Everyone is excited for this. Tonight, everything changes. If all goes smoothly, there won't be a need for gangs and leaders and fights anymore. With Riverside defeated, the remaining Academy gang and the couples will agree to coexist peacefully. This will be the final appearance of Angel and the Phantom. There will be no more pressure from anyone for me to come out of my desperate retirement. No more guilt about not stepping in sooner to assist my former friends. I can't wait. By the time the evening comes, the plan is fully in motion. Most of us are here at the park where Gray and I first bumped into each other all those years ago, ready to leave at a moment's notice. The rest of us are out seeking for Evans Warehouse and tracking the Riversiders, dressed in dark hoodies to avoid drawing attention. While we wait for news, Gray and I walk side by side through the park's green grass. Can you believe it's been 10 years since we met? He asks. I remember our first meeting so clearly. You were beautiful, feisty, interesting. Gray trails off, appearing to be deep in thought as he reminiscence. What was your impression of me back then? I mostly remember you as the guy who stole my phone, I say teasingly. Gray stops. His mesmerizing gray eyes meet mine, and I can see my answer didn't satisfy him. No, seriously, what did you think of me? Honestly, I ask uneasily. He nods his head, seeming genuinely curious about what I'll answer. I don't think he'll like what I have to say. I wanted nothing to do with you, I say softly. I glance over at Gray nervously, just in time to see his face fall. Why? His voice is barely a whisper. The moment I found out you were the Gray Jansen is the moment I realized I could lose everything just by associating with you. All of my friends, my best friend especially, my classmates, they all hated that couple high for the constant amount of crap your gang puts us through. Gray nods, apparently finding my explanation acceptable. And before you found out I was Gray Jansen? He asks. I take a moment to think back. He introduced himself during our first meeting, but there was a few minutes before that where I remained blissfully ignorant. I thought you seemed capable, I recall. Someone who could handle himself in a fight, someone who could be relied on, and I thought you were considerate for lending me your jacket. I'm glad you saw me that way, Gray says. His eyes look brighter than before, but his demeanor gives off a sense of urgency. But Hazel, I think a lot of the shit you heard about that couple pulling was even pitting us against each other. I know I heard about the academy doing tons of stuff you never would have okayed. At the times, I believed the rumors, Gray confesses, but now, after growing so close to you, I think I know the truth. Could Gray be right? When we thought it was that couple high acting as a constant thorn in Clanner Academy's side, could it have been Riverside? So you're saying that all those pranks were one person thought that they saw something that pointed to the couple. Might have been faked, could have been as simple as Riversider wearing a stolen Da couple hoodie or planning a swift student ID, Gray says. Now, I'm not saying it was all even. Our gangs definitely pranked each other, retaliated against said pranks, and fought countless times. But I think he did just enough to ensure our number one territory was always each other, and not Riverside, he finishes. It's an interesting theory, I say slowly, and it would certainly be convenient if we could both blame Riverside High for a bunch of stuff. Let's test it out, I suggest. Was it the couple who called the police on the former Academy gang leader, saying there were drugs in the basement? Gray shakes his head. As far as I'm aware, no. It was the couple who slashed the tires. Was it the couple? Was it the Academy who slashed the tires of the couple buses the day of our school field trip? No, I exclaimed. That's terrible. Before we can continue, both of our phones go off at the same time and vibrate in our pockets. We pull them out and check the message, knowing what to expect. Someone has found the location of the warehouse. It's time to go. There's a few Riversiders standing around right outside the building. When they look over to find nearly the entirety of the Academy and the couple gang descending on them at once, they immediately call for help and assume a fighting stance. Even as dozens more Riversiders emerge from the warehouse to help, this can still scarcely be labeled a fight. Given the large population of Takapo High, our side outnumbers our enemies 3-1. Despite our overwhelming numbers advantage, Riverside isn't going to give up so easily. I fight my way through the crowd alongside Jed, Gray, and Sarah. The four of us focus on dodging fights, wanting to enter the heart of the operation and find where Even stores his cash. That's the only way this feud will ever end. Once inside, the four of us immediately start searching the place. Time is likely to not be on our side tonight, even if Even's crew has orders not to call the police. Any regular civilian could pass through this area at the moment. We have to move fast. With most of the Riversiders having run outside and defend their base, we're able to move quickly. Our group splits up in order to comb through the first floor more quickly. Nothing over here, Jet calls out from the northeast. Anyone else having any luck? Sarah asks. None, Gray replies. I'm going to start searching upstairs, I shout. As I race up the metal stairs, I immediately find myself head-to-head against the dark-haired woman with a long, slender scar across her collarbone. She doesn't look happy to see me. She sweeps her leg high into the air, aiming for a kick to the head. I easily dodge it, dashing in close to catch her off balance. I hit her twice, once to the throat and once to the gut. My opponent falls backwards, gasping for air and clutching at her stomach. Behind her lies a red door. I yank it open, eager to see what this girl is guarding. What I found nearly knocks the wind out of me. Plastic bags and crates everywhere. I don't need to be a genius to realize what the white substance inside of those bags mean. I stumble back down the stairs, seriously shaken by what I saw. The three friends are there to greet me as I return to the first floor. "What is it, Hazel?" Sarah asked, concerned. "Drugs," I managed to choke out. "There's so much of this white powdery stuff. Cocaine, I'm guessing. Guys, there's bags of it. So I can't see my face. I'm sure I must be as pale as a ghost, carrying around a fraction of what even has stocked upstairs would get someone a hefty prison sentence if caught." "Holy crap," Sarah exclaims. "Seriously?" Gray shakes his head in disbelief, cursing at himself. He'd sometimes bring his own drugs at the table, but I never imagined he'd be the actual distributor of an illegal drug trade. Judging by the amount, we're likely to be dealing with one of the biggest drug dealers in Clanner. No wonder he needs more places to launder his money. Guys, what do we do about it? Do we call the cops? We came here to destroy Evan's money, so... Heavy footsteps start out from behind a large pile of boxes. I feel the hairs of the back of my arm stand up as Jed and Sarah's eyes go wide. Someone is right behind us. "No!" Sarah screams. Gray's hand shoots out, grabbing my wrist and yanking me towards him. I fall into Gray's side, immediately wrapping my arms around him to steady myself. Gray holds me tightly to his chest, clutching my body. I turn to see Evan, standing where I had been just seconds ago, with a knife in his hand. "If you think you can harm even a single hair on your body, you've got another thing coming, Novak." Gray sneers at him. I narrowly escaped being stabbed by Evan. "Damn," Evan says. "It seems I was a little too slow." His eyes are dark and wrathful. Yet his lips curl into a wicked smile. It's incredibly unsettling to see. "Oh well, there's always next time, right?" he says mechanically. Even lunges towards us, his blade catching the light as he moves. Gray pushes me towards safety and tackles Ethan head-on, managing to knock the knife out of his hand. It lands several feet away. Jed kicks it into a far corner of the warehouse, away from everyone else. Gray and Ethan grapple each other, both trying to gain the upper hand in the fight. Before any of us can help, more Riversiders run over and attack us, looking to aid Ethan in battle. By the time I manage to incapacitate my attacker and turn my attention back towards Gray, what I witness nearly makes my heart stop. Ethan has Gray pinned against the concrete floor with one hand wrapped around his throat. Gray's face is starting to turn red as he struggles against Evan's grip. You seriously think I can let you walk? You seriously think I can let you just walk away after what you saw? Even spits. I nearly throw myself onto him, desperately wanting to get even off of Gray. Before I make the tackle, Gray catches my eye and shakes his head against almost imperceptibly. Bewildered by his refusal, I stand stunned for a moment, and that's when I spot what Gray is really up to. Literally behind Evan's back, I see Gray reach into one of Evan's pockets and pull something out of it. All I see is a single flash of silver that gets stashed into Gray's own pocket. Then the fight is fully on. Gray takes hold of Ethan and flips the two of them so that Gray now holds the upper hand. He throws punch after punch, aiming for Ethan's head. Ethan does his best to deflect the blows, shifting out the harm's way each time. Finally, one lands, then another, and another, as Ethan becomes increasingly disoriented. Guys, Nikki runs over to us, screaming. Someone started a fire on the other side of the building. We have to get out now. Oh God, not another fire. Not more destruction. Who started it? Was it one of the Riversiders in a desperate attempt to get out? Was it someone from Academy or the couple wanting to avenge Raindrop? As if this wasn't bad enough, police siren soon sound in the distance. Everyone outside and in starts to scatter, running as far as they can. Gray just picks up a pace, just still throwing punches. Evan's face is bloodied and bruised. Gray, Jed warns, let's move. He doesn't acknowledge Jed. Even now offers little resistance against Gray's onslaught, looking completely out of it. Gray? I ask, starting to get concerned. Abruptly, Gray stands up. He wipes his bleeding knuckles onto his jeans as he observes his handiwork. Evan lies unconscious on the ground before him. Outside, the police cars rush into a nearby road before coming to a halt. Numerous cops exit the vehicles, fully clad in tactical gear. Sarah pulls a reluctant Jed out through a rear exit, urging me to come with them, but I have to stay. Come on, I scream at Gray. Despite my desperation, I'm determined to not leave here alone. Gray finally bolts over to me, grabbing me by the hand and pulling me into a run alongside him. Together, we flee out the back entrance. Easily we outrun the officers, most of whom stop to apprehend those left behind.